Stephen A. Smith, I congratulate you for owning this story from the start. You have set the tone and been all over it, and I watched you all weekend, very long for you, long weekend, and listened to you this morning on Mike and Mike as you continue to break this down and report on it. This is my 2 cents from a distance, my gut feeling, and I did get to know Phil a little when I covered him and the Bulls in Chicago. I do not believe he will take this job because I don't believe he ever really had any intention of taking this job. I believe that he and James Dolan are using each other for very intriguing reasons, because clearly James Dolan is getting powerfully positive publicity right now. It looks like, by golly, he's out there doing something. He's shooting for the moon, man. He's going for Phil. And it seems like, just from a distance, that Knicks fans pretty excited about this, right? Because it's a way out. There's a big light at the end of the tunnel. There's an 11-ring light at the end of the tunnel. Phil Jackson, who started with the Knicks, won 2 rings as a player. Wow, this would be great. Meanwhile, Phil is able to at least make Jim Buss a little nervous here and give his partner, his girlfriend Jeannie, some real ammunition to go to her brother and say, you really going to let this happen? You're going to let Phil go to the Knicks? Do you realize what Laker Nation is going to say to you, brother? Well, brother. So, to me, it's a win-win that way. And what I know about Phil, in order, he loves can't-lose situations, number one, and number two, money. The Knicks are not a can't-lose situation right now. This isn't Michael Jordan's Bulls or Kobe and Shaq's Lakers, obviously. So, Phil doesn't like college basketball. He doesn't want to scout college basketball. He likes the NHL more than he likes to watch college basketball. And obviously, Phil loves living on his ranch in Montana and his home with Jeannie in Playa del Rey, Los Angeles. So would he want to relocate permanently to Manhattan? I doubt it. I could be wrong. Not that he doesn't love New York, but I don't think he wants to live and have a bi-coastal relationship with Jeannie, who's, I assume, would stay with the Lakers. So, to me, unless Dolan offered him a piece of the team, which would be big money, something like that, this isn't just, oh, I'll give you $10 million. If he give him $50 million, like that kind of money, would Phil think about it? He might, at his age, 68. He might. But for basketball reasons, I don't see it at all.
Few things. First of all, very astute analysis on your part, and I appreciate the compliment. Phil Jackson turned 69 September 17th. Understand that there's a myriad of things going on here. I don't know what Phil Jackson is going to do. I just told you guys what was told to me. I have no clue. I don't communicate with Phil Jackson. Respect the man. Respect the hell out of the man. 11 championships, 13 trips to the finals over 20 years, never had a losing record in his entire tenure as a head coach. Worst record he ever had, it was 42-40. Phil Jackson would prefer to stay with the Los Angeles Lakers. He would rather land an executive, high-ranking executive position. But it's a family business. And even though he's planning on marrying into the family, it's not daddy's dying wish that Phil Jackson runs basketball operations for the Los Angeles Lakers. It's Jim Buss. Jeannie Buss is the executive VP for the Los Angeles Lakers with the real authority to make things happen. But the dad had aspirations, and for her to go against that is to go against her daddy, and she loves her daddy. She loved her daddy dearly. So you've got that element going on. Could this whole scenario be used as leverage by Phil Jackson? Absolutely. There's no question about that. There's also no question that he would prefer being affiliated with the Los Angeles Lakers than it was to the New York Knicks. But I have an incredibly reliable source that told me this. Back in L.A. 3 years ago, they said then there is only one job that Phil Jackson wants to work for after his years here, and that was the New York Knicks. Now here comes Dolan. What Dolan, if you remember back in the day, Skip, Dolan didn't want to bring on Phil because Dolan said, why isn't he calling me? Why do I have to call him? As petty and pathetic as that sounds, that really is what he felt. Okay? So what happened was, when I talked to you guys Friday, I had found out that Steve Mills went out there. The reason why Phil was turned off is because Phil was like, if Mr. Dolan wants me, what the hell is this man doing in front of my face? The reason why Steve Mills was sent out there, according to numerous sources, is if you remember, Steve Mills is the president of basketball operations for the Knicks. So the message Dolan was trying to send is that, well, we want you to answer to Mills because Dolan wants Mills as a part of the mix. All right, now there are some people there will sit there and go like this. Well, why would he care? Just move him over to Madison Square Garden. The problem is, and this is not casting any aspersions on Steve Mills because I'm sure his character is not that type of person, but with the whole sexual harassment lawsuit that came down where the Knicks lost $11.5 million, keep in mind that sexual harassment suit was against Madison Square Garden. It wasn't against the Knicks, and he was the president at that time. Well, MSG went public, okay, in 2010. So even though James Dolan is the executive chairman of MSG, you have shareholders to answer to.
Sure.
They may not want Mills. I don't know this for certain, but they may not want Mills back in a position over Madison Square Garden, which is why Dolan had him presiding over the Knicks to bring him back into the mix, which is why he probably sent Mills out there to begin with. But because Phil wasn't going for that, Dolan had to ultimately meet with Phil himself, set up through one of his musician friends or whatever who know both him and Phil. In the end, what it comes down to is this. Dolan ultimately has been taking so much heat and so much negative publicity. He wants a face with cachet that everybody will look at, so no matter what is going wrong, it's on them, not Dolan. So if Phil comes in, all right, it's up to you to keep Melo. If you don't keep Melo, it's your fault that Melo didn't stay. If you can't recruit big-time players to come play for us, that's on you. That's not on me. That's what Dolan, according to my sources, is trying to make happen because the shrapnel of criticism has been so intense, it's difficult for him to take.